हरे कृष्णा कौस्तुभ प्रभु दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Prabhu, just give me a minute, Prabhu. I'm just trying to start the YouTube streaming.
Sure.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandvat Pranam.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Okay, Prabhu ji. I think the YouTube streaming has started. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are very fortunate to have the association of His Grace Kaustubh Ramanuja Prabhu, who will be sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 5, chapter number 18, Sloka number 12. Prabhu ji, over to you, Prabhu ji.
Thank you, Bruce. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everybody. Welcome to morning discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. As Prabhuji said, we are discussing on Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, text number 12, a very famous verse. When Prabhuji had sent me almost a week ago this verse, I thought that this is a very famous verse when I saw the number, but I didn't look at the verse then. Yesterday evening, when I was just going through at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, I realized that it is a very famous verse, a verse which Srila Prabhupada actually quotes in many of his purports, and he has spoken a lot on this verse. And sometimes it is not fully understood also, this verse. So we will discuss on this verse today. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। I'll just share my screen. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, text number 12. So I'll just recite the verse. यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवत्य किंचना सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुराः हराव भक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः। यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवत्य किंचना सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुराः हराव भक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः। यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवत्य किंचना सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुराः हराव भक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः। Anybody would like to recite the verse? One or two devotees.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu.
Srimad
Go ahead.
Bhagavatam,
Go ahead.
Yes.
part 18.12. Yashadi bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvai gunaiस्तत्र samaste suraha arava bhaktasya kuto mahadgunaha मनोरथे नास्ति Davato Bahi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha harava abhaktasya kuto mahat guna manorathe nasti dhavato bahihi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So let us read the synonyms, the word-to-word meaning. Yasya, of whom, just a second, of whom. Asti, there is. Bhakti, devotional service. Bhagavati, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Akinchana, without any motive. Sarvaihi, with all. Gunaihi, good qualities. Tatra, there, in that person. Samasate, reside. Suraha, all the demigods. Harau, onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Abhaktasya, of a person who is not devoted. Kutaha, where? Mahat gunaha, good qualities. Manorathena, by mental speculation. Asati, in the temporary material world. Dhavataha, who is running. Bahihi, outside. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation goes as follows. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? Purport. As explained in the next verse, Krishna is the original source of all living entities. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15:7, wherein Krishna says, Mamayavamsho jiva loke jiva bhutas sanatanaha manashashthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. All living entities are part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore, when they revive their original Krishna consciousness, they possess all the good qualities of Krishna in a small quantity. When one engages himself in the 9 processes of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, one's heart becomes purified, and he immediately understands his relationship with Krishna. He then revives his original quality of Krishna consciousness. In the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 8, there is a description of some of the qualities of devotees. For example, Sri Pandit Haridas is described as being very well behaved, tolerant, peaceful, magnanimous, and grave. In addition, he spoke very sweetly. His words, his endeavors were very pleasing. He was always patient. He respected everyone. He always worked for everyone's benefit. His mind was free of duplicity, and he was completely devoid of all malicious activities. These are all originally qualities of Krishna, and when one becomes a devotee, they automatically become manifest. Sri Krishnadasa Kaviraj, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says that all good qualities become manifest in the body of a Vaishnava, and that only by the presence of these good qualities can one distinguish the Vaishnava from a non-Vaishnava. Krishnadas Kaviraj lists the following 26 good qualities of a Vaishnava. 1. He is very kind to everyone. 2. He does not make anyone his enemy. 3. He is truthful. 4. He is equal to everyone. 5. No one can find any fault in him. 6. He is magnanimous. 7. He is mild. 8. He is always clean. 9. He is without possessions. 10. He works for everyone's benefit. 11. He is very peaceful. 12. He is always surrendered to Krishna. He has 13. He has no material desires. 14. He is very meek. 15. He is steady. 16. He controls his senses. 17. He does not eat more than required. 18. He is not influenced by the Lord's illusory energy. 19. He offers respect to everyone. 20. He does not desire any respect for himself. 21. He is very grave. 22. He is merciful. 23. He is friendly. 24. He is poetic. 25, he is expert. 26 is silent. Hare Krishna. So, a beautiful verse and a very important verse for all the devotees to understand, because let me just come out of the screen share. Yeah. So, it's a very important verse, a verse very often quoted by Srila Prabhupada and all the Vartamana Acharyas in ISKCON, and one of the landmark verses we can say in Bhagavatam. The context, all of you know, you have been discussing fifth canto every single day. So the context is that the residents of Jambu Dvipa, which are divided into 9 varshas, starting with Bhadrashva Varsha. So the residents of Jambu Dvipa, they're offering their prayers to the Supreme Lord. And each of the varshas of Jambu Dvipa has their Aradhya Daivata. Aradhya Daivata means one form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like in Bhadrashva Varsha, it is Lord Hayagriva. That is how the chapter starts, right? The 18th chapter of the 5th canto, which is entitled as The Residents of Jambu Dvipa Offer Their Prayers to the Supreme Lord, starts with the description of Bhadrashva Varsha, wherein the residents offer their prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Lord Hayagriva, who recovers the solar. And there's a series of prayers given over there. And next comes the second Varsha, which is the Hari Varsha, which is under discussion right now. This Varsha is a very special Varsha. Recently we celebrated Narasimha Chaturdashi also. So in Hari Varsha, the Aradhya Daiva means the presiding deity is Lord Nrsimhadev. Hari also means a lion. There are many meanings of the word Hari. Amara Kosha, which is the standard Sanskrit dictionary, lists almost like 9 to 10 meanings. Of course, the most predominant meaning is our Lord Krishna. Harati Papani iti Harihi, like that Srila Prabhupada explained, that one who takes away all the sinful reactions, he is Hari. There is also another meaning of a lion for Hari. And a monkey is also called Hari. In the Ramayana, we see the Vanaras being called as Hari, Harayaha, like that. So a lion is also referred to as Hari. So in this Hari Varsha, Prahlad Maharaj, who is the foremost of all devotees of Nrsimhadev, along with all the residents of Hari Varsha, they offer their prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. We saw that very famous and very, let us say, a very traditional verse in which many South Indian temples also, they worship Lord Nrsimhadev with that verse. Namaste Ugra Nrsimhaya and Namaste Tejase. I don't remember the verse, but it came just a few verses before. And in continuation with that verse is a series of verses in which Prahlad and all the residents of Hari Varsha, they are offering their prayers to Nrsimhadev. And this verse is actually one of those verses. And in this verse, Prahlad and of course all the other residents of Hari Varsha, they are actually submitting to the Lord that what is the difference between the good qualities seen in devotees and, for example, the good qualities seen in non-devotees. This is actually a very important point to be understood by all of us. Many times we actually, secretly disbelieve this verse. I'm saying this actually because for many years I never understood this verse, and whenever I used to hear this verse, I used to simply think that this actually refers only to very exalted devotees and not to sadhakas like us. And maybe even if it refers to sadhakas like us, it may have been simply an exaggeration. Of course, it is a mental offense, but still, I thought like this for many, many years, because this verse is actually saying, Yasya Bhagavati akinchana bhaktirasti. One for whom there is, or rather one in whom there is akinchana bhakti. Kinchana means something. Akinchana means without holding even a little bit back, right? Akinchana means nothing. So kinchana means something, akinchana means nothing. That means a devotee submits to the Lord without any material desire. So if I have a material desire and then submit myself to the Lord, that is kinchana bhakti. Means I have something for for which I am actually submitting to the Lord. I want some profit gain and adoration, and therefore I am submitting myself to the Lord. But without any profit, adoration, distinction at all, if I submit to the Lord with the pure motive of simply worshipping Him, that is called akinchana bhakti. So yasya bhagavati, one who has a pure devotional service, as Srila Rupa Goswami describes the characteristics of devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhaktiruttama. So the first word that he says is Anyabhilashita shunyam. That means one who he does not have any other. Just a second, just give me a moment. Okay. So he doesn't have any desire except for pleasing the Lord. Anya abhilashita shunyam. He doesn't have any other abhilasha. Right? So the same thing is told over here. One for whom the Lord is everything. He doesn't have any material desire. He doesn't hold anything back. He offers everything to the Lord and he submits himself fully to the Lord. In such a person, sarvaihi gunaihi tatra suraha samasate. Suraha refers to demigods. So the demigods are known for their godly qualities, and the demons are known for their asuric qualities or demoniac qualities. Right? We can study this very distinctly and very succinctly in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. In the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes, in the beginning, he actually describes 3 verses he dedicates for describing the demigodly qualities or the godly qualities. Daiva Sura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga is the name of the chapter. He describes Daiva Gunaha, means the godly qualities, in 3 verses in the beginning. And then he dedicates the rest of the chapter for describing only the demoniac qualities. Because he says that I have already described these godly qualities sufficiently before. So now I want to dedicate the rest of the chapter for describing demoniac qualities so that people protect themselves from these kinds of qualities. He starts the chapter by saying Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dhanam Damashta Yajnashta Swadhyayasta Parjavam. Like that, he describes 3 qualities, which are 3 verses in which he describes the godly qualities. And then from the 4th verse onwards till the rest of the chapter, he describes demoniac qualities. Right? So it is not that demigods have only godly qualities. This actually Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in the commentary on this verse, he makes it very clear that it is not that demigods also have only godly qualities, but predominantly they have godly qualities. Just like Indra, we see very often in Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam describes his negative side, right? His lower nature is being described. So even the demigods have their lower nature, but predominantly they have godly qualities. And therefore, this verse is saying, Tatra. Tatra means in such a person who has pure devotion to the Supreme Lord, in such a person, all the demigods with their godly qualities reside. Means that lower nature is not taken into consideration over here. That lower nature of the demigods also exists, but that is not taken into consideration over here. Only the godly qualities or the good qualities of the demigods, they are residing in such a person who has pure devotion unto the Supreme Lord. On the other hand, vipariyaya means on the other hand, that person who is a non-devotee, harau abhaktasya, one who doesn't have even a tinge of bhakti, or he is not practicing pure devotional service to Lord Hari. And what is his characteristic? Manorathena Bahir asati dhawataha. One who is always, his ratha means chariot. He is riding on the chariot of his mind. This is actually a very, very important word. I will discuss this sometime from now. Please note this word. Manorathena asati. This is a very, very important word. He is saying, Manorathena bahihi asati dhawataha. One who actually rides on the chariot of his mind. Means he only functions on the platform of his mind. So we can conclude that those people who don't have pure devotion to the Lord, they are actually, or who are not practicing pure devotional service, both of them, right? Not simply one who does not have pure devotion to the Lord, but one who is not on the platform or on the path of pure devotional service. Both of them, for such a person, they are only riding on the chariot of their minds, means they are on their mental platform. Kuto mahadgunaha. From where will mahadgunaha, means good qualities, manifest in such a person? That is the translation of this verse, right? So now there are very, very important words in this verse. As I said, manorathena dhawataha, asati dhawataha is a very important word. Now, this verse starts with the word yasya. Yasya refers to that person. Now, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in the commentary on this verse, he says 3 to 4 very important points, which I'd just like to discuss. I will read from his commentary. Please pay a little attention, because this requires some preponderance before understanding. Chakravarti Thakur is known for his very unique commentaries. Just give me a second. I need to open this. Just a second. It disappeared somewhere. Yeah. I had it open, but it reloaded. The page reloaded. So, okay. Now I opened it. Yeah. So, Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on this verse, he says, yeah. So he says that this word, akinchana bhakti, it means nishkama bhakti. Nishkama bhakti means without any kama. Kama means refers to a material desire. So one who doesn't have any material desire and he submits to the Lord only for the sake of getting pure devotional service from him, only for the sake of pure devotional service, he is referred to as a nishkama bhakta. So the devatas live in that place completely with all qualities like dharma, jnana, and vairagya. He becomes filled with all the devatas. This means that by service to the Lord, all the devatas are served. So he's bringing out this point. Chakravarti Thakur is bringing out this point that when one serves the Lord, the verse is saying that when one serves the Lord, all the demigods reside in that person. So the verse is not saying that the qualities reside in that person. The verse is actually saying that Suraha Samasate, means the demigods themselves, along with their good qualities, are residing in such a person. So this actually means, Chakravarti Thakur is saying that by worshipping Krishna alone, by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead alone, all the demigods are also served. Just like Bhagavatam itself describes with the example of watering the root of the tree, yatha taror mula nishechanena tripyanti taskandha bhujopashakaha, or pranopaharacha yathindriyanam tathaiva sarvarhanam achyutejya. Even the example of putting food into the stomach and all the limbs of the body getting nourished is also given. So that is given to show that just by worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the demigods are also satisfied. That means they also are served. So if we are serving the Supreme Lord, that goes to show that the demigods are also served. That is the first point that he makes in relation to this verse. And then he says that the presiding deities of the senses, such as Rudra for ego, reside there with all good qualities and no bad qualities. So each of our senses has a presiding deity. All of us have studied this in the Virat Rupa description that the Bhagavatam gives. The second canto and the third canto, there are 3 descriptions of the Virat Rupa. In each of these sections, we have seen how each of the senses that we have, the karmendriyas and the jnanendriyas, have their presiding deities. They're called the sense devatas. And when false ego transforms into the mode of goodness, it gives rise to the mind and the sense devatas. So that we have seen. So each of these presiding deities actually stay in the person of in the body of a pure devotee, or of one who is practicing pure devotional service with good qualities and no bad qualities. That is what he is emphasizing. How can the qualities without fault? The great qualities arising from bhakti reside within the non-devotee. So now he's bringing up the point that how is it that a non-devotee doesn't possess any good quality. This is what the verse is saying, right? The non-devotee doesn't possess any good quality at all, right? Now, on the contrary to our experience in this world, we may see many of our colleagues or relatives or neighbors or friends having many good qualities. Correct? No, this is actually a point that is to be very nicely understood. We see in this world that many of our friends, many of our acquaintances have very good qualities. And many times we may feel that devotees have bad qualities. And we may sometimes mentally compare also. I have one of my devotee friend and I have another, material friend. And if I compare them both, although this devotee has been practicing devotional service since many years, I see that that friend of mine, although he is not in any spiritual process at all, he doesn't have anything to do with any spiritual process. He may be even be an atheist, or even he may be just a very mild pious person. That's it. He's having many good qualities. He is very tolerant, just like the Bhagavad Gita describes many qualities that are seen in a person who's in the mode of goodness. Correct? He is very humble, he is very tolerant, he is very simple. All these qualities I see in the other person, I see in the non-devotee, but I am not seeing them fully manifest, at least in the devotee right now. On the other hand, I see many bad qualities in this devotee. Right? He gets very angry sometimes. He sometimes he gets, he simply reacts to instantaneous. He doesn't respond. He reacts to instantaneous stimuli. He gets carried away by his emotions. He gets too happy sometimes and he gets too angry sometimes. All these qualities we may see in devotees, right? So now, how do we understand this verse in relation to our practical experience? Because it is a very important point to understand. How do we understand this verse in relation to the practical experience of this world? We see good qualities in non-devotees sometimes and bad qualities in devotees. So how do we understand? So Chakravarti Thakur is making it clear, and I will discuss this again in some time. So Chakravarti Thakur says, if good qualities such as knowledge of scriptures are present in a non-devotee, they coexist with bad qualities like envy and hatred. Such a person chases material pleasure or what is non-existent, asati, with the desire for happiness gained through possession, etc. So yes, we do see good qualities in non-devotees. But even in the non-devotees, it is not that somebody has only good qualities. They do coexist with other bad qualities like envy, hatred, etc. And more important point to understand is that that person is actually making a show of those good qualities on the outside, just so that he can live a peaceful life in this world, or he can get whatever he wants in this world. So he's making a show of that. And therefore they are non-existent. So although they are not existing in the real person of that person, he's making a show just so that he can have a peaceful life in this world. That's what he says. And then ahead, the same commentary, he says that so these good qualities, they do not dwell permanently in the person of the non-devotee. That's what Chakravarti Thakur says. And then when the demigods see this kind of a person who has very this kind of a devotee, a pure devotee, or a person practicing pure devotional service, who is having no other desire than to satisfy the Lord, what do the demigods think? So Chakravarti Thakur says, yeah. So Chakravarti Thakur goes to the mentality of the demigods. They think that, just like the human beings, they also have their end. They have to take their birth and they have to die. So similarly, we also have to die today or tomorrow. The demigods think like that. So they think that it is better that we worship this kind of a devotee. Yeah, they dwell constantly in the devotees who distribute spiritual knowledge, relishing the sweetness of the Lord with all good qualities. We are like crude iron, being material, but becoming spiritual. So the demigods also worship this kind of a devotee. Why? Because they are thinking that we are in such a planet where practicing pure devotional service is actually very, very difficult. But when we see these pure devotees in Bharatavarsha practicing pure devotional service, they think that we actually are like crude iron and they are like molten gold, and therefore we aspire to be like them. And therefore, out of happiness, those demigods, they come and reside in the person or in the body of such a pure devotee. Like that, he says. Chakravarti Thakur gives a very beautiful explanation. Now, I'd like to discuss this important point. Coming back to our question, that how is it that we see many times non-devotees exhibiting good qualities, but devotees having bad qualities? Let us discuss this theme for the next 15 minutes now. We have some 15 to 20 minutes remaining. So let us discuss this, because this is very important to be understood. For many years, I actually wondered about this. I never got an answer, but a few years back, one of the senior devotees from Chowpatty temple, when he was explaining, I got somewhat of a clear understanding on this. I just like to share with all of you what he explained. So I'm just sharing my screen. Just give me a moment. This is a chart that he had made, which helps us very nicely understand how to understand this verse. Just a second. Yeah, I hope you are able to see this chart. It's just a diagram that I made. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So now, you see, let us discuss this chart. So the desires that we have, within ourselves, they can either stem from our conditioning or they can stem from our value system. Okay, now I'll just explain these terms. What is conditioning and what is value system? Now, all the desires that we get within our mind, Prabhupada said, there is a famous pastime in which a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada that please describe in one word how one can go back to Godhead. You must be knowing that pastime, right? One of the Western devotees had asked Srila Prabhupada that please describe to me in one word how one can go back to Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada said, desire, right? So desire is basic to every human being. So now these desires that we get within the core of our heart, every living entity is characterized by desires. So we human beings, the desires that we get, they can either stem from our conditioning or they can stem from our value system. What is conditioning? All of us understand the meaning of the word conditioning. Conditioning means a set kind of behavior that all of us have acquired because of repeating the same kind of thought process or repeating the same kind of actions and words over a long period of time. And that period of time can be either this life or it can stem from our previous life as well. And therefore, it is called vasanas. Vasanas means conditioning in a layman's term, right? So those desires that we get, they can either stem from our conditioning or from our value system. We'll discuss value system a little later. But those desires that come from our conditioning, they are actually based on our likes and dislikes. In Sanskrit, it is called raga and dvesha. So raga is like, dislike is dvesha. In Patanjali, in his sutras also, it describes this raga and dvesha, the terms raga and dvesha. He says, Sukhanushayi ragaha, Dukkhanushayi dveshaha. Very simple definition Patanjali gives in his Yoga Sutras. Raga means what? In the initially, when I do something for the first time, I develop a kind of sukha, means I get happiness from one activity. So thereafter, what happens is that I develop kind of a liking for that activity. That is called raga. So, and then initially, the first experience of some activity, if I have a negative experience of that activity, if I get unhappiness or if I get distress because of that activity, I develop a negative emotion towards that activity. So, over a period of time, that develops into dvesha or hatred. Right? That's how Patanjali describes. So, in the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says, Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavasthitau tayor na vashamagacche tauhyasya paripanthinau. In the third chapter, Krishna says that this raga and dvesha are actually enemies of the living entity, and one should not come under the sway of likes and dislikes. However, a person who functions only under his conditioning, he functions only on the platform of likes and dislikes. And this is nothing but a mental platform, because it is the mind which analyzes what I like and what I dislike. I like one activity because that has given me happiness in the past. I dislike another activity because that has given me distress in the past. So it's a mind which analyzes and analyzes and filters some thoughts into the bucket of likes and some other thoughts into the bucket of dislikes, right? So a person who functions only on the mental platform, he functions on the platform of likes and dislikes. Now, these likes and dislikes can be different for different kinds of people. Now, for example, some people may have noble likes and noble dislikes. Some other people may have ignoble likes and ignoble dislikes. In our terms, in the terms of the Bhagavad Gita, we can say a person in the mode of ignorance has certain likes and dislikes. A person in the mode of passion has certain other likes and dislikes. Similarly, a person in the mode of goodness has yet other likes and dislikes. For example, a person in the mode of ignorance, he has a lot of liking towards sleeping. Pramadalasya nidra vis tannibadhnati kaunteya. In the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is describing qualities of the persons in the three modes of nature, he says a person in the mode of ignorance, he has a lot of liking towards sleeping and he excessively sleeps, right? And he may dislike work. He is not a passionate person. On the other hand, a person in the mode of passion, he likes work and he dislikes sleep. And he is very much attracted towards the opposite sex. Trishna Sanga Samudbhavam, Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi, Trishna Sanga Samudbhavam. That's how Krishna describes in the 14th chapter. Trishna and Sanga. Trishna is excessive thirst for work, and Sanga is desire for association with the opposite sex. So, these are the likes for a person in the mode of passion. He may dislike, staying at one place. He may dislike studying, Shastras deeply. All these are his dislikes. Now, however, for a person in the mode of goodness, his likes and dislikes are still different. So, Bhagavad Gita says that Sukha Sangena Badhnati, Jnana Sangena Chanagha, Sukham and Jnanam. He is kind of materially happy. It's not that he's spiritually happy. A person in the mode of goodness is still material only. So he's materially happy. He's satisfied with everything that is happening in his life. He is satisfied even with a reasonable income. And he is satisfied because he is in knowledge. He is jnanam. Sukham and jnanam are the two characteristics. Now, what we need to understand, why am I discussing all of this? Because it actually has a very big connection to the topic under discussion. So now, all these three categories of persons and everybody in between, and it is not that everybody will stay permanently in the mode of goodness also. Because Krishna says that also in the 14th chapter. Rajastamashtabhibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajasattvam tamashchaiva tamasattvam rajastatha. In the 10th verse of the 14th chapter, Krishna makes it clear that some people, people who are in the mode of goodness predominantly, sometimes they come to passion and ignorance also. And similarly with the other two as well. So, As long as one is functioning under the mode and under the platform of likes and dislikes, or in other words, under the mental platform, we need to understand that such a person is actually succumbing to his likes and dislikes. Right? This is a very important point that we need to understand. He is actually succumbing. Even the mode of goodness person, just that his likes and dislikes are on the mode of goodness, are under the mode of goodness, but still he is also functioning under the mental platform only. He is not that he is become spiritual now just because he has come to the mode of goodness. No, he is succumbing but to the likes and dislikes under the mode of goodness, and therefore any like and dislike, any raga and dvesha which is under the mental platform is actually called an anartha. And anartha is something that we need to get rid of, right? So a non-devotee, now coming back to this verse of the Bhagavatam which we are discussing, a non-devotee is typically coming under this, chart, the right hand part of the chart. He is conditioned. He is conditioned by his likes and dislikes. And it may be the case that some of the non-devotees, because of the environment in which they have grown up, right, they have very desirable qualities, just because they had desirable likes and dislikes in their life. Just like I have seen myself, many of my fellow devotees also, their parents are also they never get angry. They are so tolerant, they are so humble, and therefore we see that these people are also like that. And I have seen such cases in the outside circle also. I'm sure all of you must have also experienced. You have experienced such cases in the devotee circle as well as in the non-devotee circle, and that has nothing to do with devotion, right? Now that non-devotee who is exhibiting such qualities, it's just because he was grown up in such an environment, and still, even though he was in the mode of goodness, we need to understand that he's still succumbing to those likes and dislikes which are in the mode of goodness, right? Just like I've seen some of my some of my acquaintances. They grew up in musical families. Music was in their blood, right? And so, of course, music, Indian classical music, of course, not Western music. So Indian classical music is of course in the mode of goodness, right? We should accept that it is in the mode of goodness. But still, even though such persons have this kind of musical aptitude and everything, they are simply succumbing to the likes and dislikes under that mode of goodness. We need to understand that. Now, let us come to the left hand part of the chart. If desires are based on a value system, value system means what? Value system doesn't function on likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes are on the mental platform. Value system functions on what is right and what is wrong, right? So now, if desires are coming out of a value system which is based on what is right and what is wrong, then we can say that such a person who decides that this is right for me, because I have read this from the Shastras, or I have this told to me by one of my superiors, then we can say that he's actually exercising his choice, right? Or we can say he is exercising his free will. So in other words, if a person decides, I want to do this activity and I don't want to do this activity on the basis of what is right and wrong as per what is prescribed in the Shastras, then he's actually exercising his free will. Actually, this goes to another very important point. Of course, it's a very, very revolutionary point, but still I'm mentioning this because it's all the circle of devotees. I cannot surely mention this in the outside circle. But actually, what this means is that till the point one studies the Shastras and one comes to the platform of devotional service, he actually has no free will at all. This is actually a very revolutionary point. It made it difficult for us to even accept this, but still that is the truth. When I also heard this point for the first time, I could not accept it. But still, over a period of time, I could accept it. That unless a person studies the Shastras, he doesn't even know what is good for him and what is bad for him, right? Of course, if he actually functions on a very, very moral value system that we see in this world, We used to study in our moral science classes in the school, or we get some moral lessons from our parents, and we function on that value system. But that is not, exercising our free will in the true sense of the term. So the Shastras say that unless one functions according to what the Shastras are saying, what is correct and what is wrong, till that point in time, he is actually having no free will at all, because he is only functioning under the platform of likes and dislikes. Right? Anything that he may be doing, he may be studying for what? Because he wants a job. And for why does he need a job? Because he wants to fulfill his likes and dislikes. That's it. He wants to get married. For what? He wants to fulfill his likes and dislikes. He wants children. For what? So like that, you can put everything under this bucket. As long as one is functioning under the platform of likes and dislikes, he is not exercising his true free will, or he is not exercising his free will under the true definition of the term. So therefore, one who functions under a suitable value system, he is said to have his true abhilasha. Abhilasha means what? Abhilasha means a true desire, true desire to follow the Shastras and thereby render pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Right? Now, so now we can take many different examples. Just like here also, some examples are given. I'm sorry, it went back again. Let me open it. There's a problem. Yeah. So you see, some examples are given. You can see the first point: desire to perform sincere service to Krishna. That comes under which bucket? It comes under the bucket of exercising our value system, and therefore it is an abhilasha. Now, if I have a desire to become very famous, then actually I should ask this to all of you, but there is no sufficient time, so I'm saying it myself. So it's a very simple. It comes under the category of anartha, because it is stemming from our conditioning. If I have a desire to chant nicely, it is not an anartha, it is an abhilasha. Why? Because it is stemming from my value system, right? So now, as devotees, we have our value system. The non-devotees, they don't have value system. The non-devotees, they only function under the platform of their conditionings. That is to say, they are functioning under their mental platform. So lust, anger, greed, envy, all of these come under the second category, anarthas, right? Now again, coming back to the point, these abhilashas, they lead to good qualities, and if the likes and dislikes that are stemming up from our conditioning, if they are under the mode of goodness, they also lead to good qualities. So now again, we are coming back to the same point. We may ask the question still that now under the platform of value system, you say that we have got some good qualities, and if a person is under the conditioning, his own conditioning, and if those conditioning happen to be the mode of goodness, still he has also got good qualities. And what is the difference between the two? Right? So for example, if a person is getting 1 crore rupees by his own endeavor, and another person is getting 1 crore rupees just because of inheritance, so then what is the difference? Both of them are 1 crore rupees only. So now we may ask, actually there is a gulf of difference between the two. What is the difference between the two? Is that the good qualities that we see in people outside, which are actually stemming from their conditioning, is actually not very stable good qualities. In other words, they are very, very temporary and they are very unstable. I will explain it with an example, it will become clear. On the other hand, the good qualities that we see in devotees, even though they may be very minuscule sometimes, they are actually permanent in that devotee. Let me just give you an example to illustrate this. I'll just come out with the screen share, because it's a very pertinent example. I heard this from the same devotee from Chopati who was giving this seminar. He had a friend. So this devotee is a brahmachari in the Chopati temple, and he has a friend, a fellow brahmachari, right? And that brahmachari, he actually grew up in a meat-eating family. He's a very frank person. He admits that I grew up in a meat-eating family. Some of us also may have been before, right? Before coming to ISKCON or before coming to Krishna consciousness. So he grew up in a meat-eating family, and in his childhood, in his locality, he used to play, and girls and boys used to play together. And he had one neighbor, a girl. She was from a very, very pious Brahmana family, and she used to hate the smell of meat also, right? And sometimes when they used to take food together, in childhood, girls and boys, they take, they do everything together, right? Because that is a time when they are not aware. So they used to take food together, and this boy used to bring meat and everything. And as soon as she used to even see that, or she used to smell that, she used to vomit out because of nausea. She used to nauseate and she used to vomit out, right? So that was the extent to which she was brought up in a very, very pious family. Now, fast forward 15 years. After 15 years, that girl got married. She settled down somewhere. And this boy, he entered the Brahmacharya ashram. So he came in touch with devotees and he entered the Brahmachari ashram. And he was situated as a very nice practicing devotee. So now, after 15 years, they chanced upon each other. Maybe they went to home or somewhere they chanced upon each other. Now, and they were exchanging that, how come you, and the girl asked that, how come you are in this saffron clothes and everything, and you're in the dress of a devotee. And the devotee explained that I came in touch with Srila Prabhupada's process and I'm like this now. And then he asked, what about you? And she said that I settled down, I'm a housewife now, and I'm just taking care of my family. And the Brahmachari asked that, what are your hobbies now? And she said that I actually cook, I like cooking very much, and I blog. Then Brahmachari, because he was very curious, he asked her, what do you cook? Then she said that I actually, and she showed her blog, and she said that these are the recent recipes that I blogged. And not even one of those recipes was a vegetarian recipe. All of them were non-vegetarian recipes. All that chicken butter, what I don't know about that, but all of them were non-vegetarian recipes. And this Brahmachari was shocked. I remember in childhood, you used to nauseate just by the smell of meat. You used to nauseate just upon the sight of meat. And how come this is like a 180-degree shift? How did this happen? And it's a very interesting story. Just listen to the story. That girl said that I actually fell in love with a boy, and I got married to him. But before marriage, I made it clear that you are a meat eating, and that boy was a meat eating person from a meat eating family. So let us not disturb our relationship. You can take meat, but please take it outside. I am from a Brahmin family. I am from a non-meat eating family, vegetarian family. So I can never stand that smell. So you can eat meat, you can eat outside, but don't bring it to home. He accepted, and the boy never broke the rule. And after they got married, and over a period of time, the girl started thinking that actually I am his wife. I should be actually serving him, but I'm restricting him from many things. So then she told him that, okay, you can bring it home, but don't bring it to the kitchen. You can have it in your room. So she said like that. Then that continued for some time. Then she said that actually I'm putting too many restrictions on him, and our relationship is getting affected. So therefore now she told him that now you can bring to the kitchen also, and you know what? Guess what? I will help you in cooking. We can cook the meat, but I will not take. You can take. That means that we will cook this meat in the home, but I will not take. You can take. So that went on for some time, and then again the girl started thinking that actually I'm his wife. I'm supposed to please him. How can I please him by the tongue if I cannot? I don't even know how this tastes, right? I don't even know how this meat tastes. Then how can I please him? So then she started consuming it herself, right? She started tasting it, and then over a period of time, she started liking it. And after that, almost every single day in their house. Right now, the situation was that every single day they used to cook only meat and they used to take together. Right? This is a classic example of how people outside, although they may be coming from a very nice family, they may be having very good qualities, because they don't have a predominant value system in them. They are only functioning on the platform of their likes and dislikes. It is a mental platform. And as soon as the environment gets changed, the likes and dislikes also change. We have seen, I have myself seen many examples of this. Of course, not a drastic example like this, but I have seen likes and dislikes change, the environment changes. So first the environment changes, the likes and dislikes change, and therefore their beliefs and their faith, everything changes, right? So therefore, we can see that what this verse is talking about is actually a very, very deep concept, right? Devotees' value system is actually the greatest treasure that they have, right? In other words, as Srila Prabhupada says, the faith that the devotees have in Sri Krishna is the greatest, biggest treasure they have. All of us may have accumulated so much of treasure. We may have got so much from our inheritance. I know of one devotee who has 5 acres of land in the middle of Bangalore, because that he got out of inheritance, right? So we may be thinking, other people may be seeing him and they may be think that just look at us, we have to work so hard, we have to go to office from morning till evening, but this fellow has got nothing to do. He has 5 acres of land right in the middle of Bangalore, and he gets crores of income just by his inheritance, right? But that is not the actual treasure of a devotee, right? The Prabhupada says that the faith that the devotee has in Krishna is actually the biggest treasure that he has. And therefore, when Srila Prabhupada is describing these 26 qualities of a devotee, there is the 12th quality that you can see. Krishnaika Sharanam is the Sanskrit word for that. Krishnaika Sharanam means a devotee resorts to only Krishna. He doesn't have anybody else to his resort. That means that when he gets into problems, he always meditates on Krishna. When he is happy, again he meditates on Krishna. This is the foremost quality of a devotee. Although it is coming in the 12th place, we can check it out there in the purport that we just read. 26 qualities are described, actually, which are coming from Chaitanya Charitamrita. But the 12th quality says Krishnaika Sharanam, means he resorts to Krishna only, and that faith that the devotee has in Krishna is actually the biggest treasure, and that will protect him from everything in this world, right? So this value system that the devotee gathers is based on the Shastras, and that value system encourages him to have more and more faith in Krishna. And therefore, the 9 stages of devotional service that we know, from Shraddha till Prema, Srila Prabhupada explains as it is just an increasing level of Shraddha or faith. Although the first level is only called Shraddha, but that is the minuscule Shraddha that one has in the beginning, because of which one comes into the association of devotees. And the subsequent stages, Ado Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Atha Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, then Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema, all of them, they're just like increasing one's faith in Krishna, increasing one's faith in Krishna's devotees, and increasing one's faith in the process of bhakti, right? So therefore, we understand that this verse is actually dealing with a very, very deep concept. When this verse is saying that the non-devotees have no good qualities at all, it is not an exaggeration, it is a reality. Why? Because the apparent good qualities that the non-devotees are exhibiting, they are very, very temporary, very fluctuating, and very unstable. As soon as the environment is changed, the complete, the devotees, the qualities that they exhibit completely changes, right? On the other hand, the devotees, although we may see that they are sometimes getting very angry, sometimes they have a lot of maybe lusty desires, and they are hankering for power and name and everything, but still, we should be convinced in our heart on the basis of Shastra Chakshu that these qualities, whatever qualities Vaishnavas are exhibiting, they're actually permanent in them. And as long as their faith in Krishna is not disturbed, those qualities will remain permanent in them. There are a few more things to discuss on this verse also, but it's nearing time, so I would like to stop over here. I'd like to thank Shankarshan Priya Prabhu and all the assembled devotees over here. As I said in the beginning, I didn't know that it was this verse. I just thought that it's a very famous number. 5, 18, 12 is a very famous number. Prabhupada repeats in many of his purports. But yesterday evening, when I was just looking at the verse, I got to know this is a verse. So I just shared what I'd heard from this senior devotee from Chopati temple. I'd like to thank everybody. Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Kaustubh Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class, especially highlighting the key aspect of the Vaishnava qualities and how it is actually different from the devotees and non-devotees. Thank you, Prabhuji. I request the devotees to share the questions or comments, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. As usual, wonderful class. Prabhu, actually, when I'm just preparing in a simple way to my Bhakti Shastri Prabhu. When I was reading the 14.26 in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives in the purport, Prabhu, the same, but I didn't understand. I just by-hearted. He says, the Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and living entities are part and parcel. As gold particles are part of gold mine, Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. Like, I didn't understand that when I read at that time. And today you have described that in so well, Prabhu. Thank you so much for making me understand. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranams. Thanks for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Actually, recently only I was telling some people to read the Shastras, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And that lady was so disillusioned. She was telling, I see devotees with low character, like what you were telling, especially in the pilgrimage places and all. So she was telling why we should read all that. People who have read are not following it. Like that, she was very disillusioned. So what I had studied, that at least they are in the right path, and ultimately they will manifest the good qualities. So that one I said. Any other points we can tell them, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's a common question. Thank you, Mataji. It's a common question that people often ask. Of course, if she is referring to people in the holy places, they are, we also see when we go to the places like Vrindavan and other places, we see some sadhus, they may be smoking ganja and all these things we see. So, yeah, we should be, there are two aspects to this. One is that they may really be pretenders. And Prabhupada actually condemns such pretenders in Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter also. He says that an honest sweeper is better than a charlatan meditator. In one of these verses, I think, Niyatam Guru Karmatvam Karmajjayo Hyakarmanaha 3.8, in that purport, Prabhupada condemns. So a pretender is not talked about in this verse at all, the verse that we discussed. So if he's a pretender, then surely not just the Shastras, but Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, all the Acharyas, they condemn pretenders, right? On the other hand, if there is an honest devotee who is struggling with his anarthas, he is actually called a saint by Krishna. I wanted to talk about this, good that you brought out this point. In the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that my devotee, even though he may be doing the most abominable of activities, but still he should be considered saintly. Apiche su duracharo bhajate ma mananya bhak sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha. Very famous verse, 9th chapter. So here Krishna is saying he may be doing su duracharaha, he may be doing the most abominable of activities, but because he has faith in me. And this verse is not talking about people who intentionally commit sinful activities just because bhakti will save them. That will come under Namaparad. That is the most serious of all Namaparads. The 7th Namaparad, right? Namno hi yasya papa buddhihi. That's what Srila Prabhupada says. But this verse is actually talking about those people who have a lot of conditioning because of their previous practices, right? They have a lot of conditioning, and now they came into bhakti, and immediately they're not able to give up their sinful activities. And in the meantime, they are rendering devotional service, and slowly that that seed of sinful reactions or sinful activities is going away very, very slowly. This was actually talking about them. Just like another example, the same devotee from Chopati temple, he gave us that there was one person who used to come every morning to their temple in Chopati, and every morning he used to attend the entire artis, and just before chanting, so the Shikshashtakam used to go, all of us know how the temple program runs, right? So we recite the Shikshashtakam, and then somebody reads from one book or they speak on holy name, and then everybody starts chanting. So after the Shikshashtakam gets over, this person, what he used to do is that he used to go out for 5-10 minutes and then come back and start to sit chanting. So this went on for days and for months practically. And one day, one brahmachari got curious. What is he doing every day? Why is he taking this 5 and 10 minutes? Just for 5 to 10 minutes, why is he going outside and then coming back? And then he followed this person that day. And he saw, to his utter dismay, to utter shock, he saw that this person actually sitting under a tree outside. He's actually smoking cigarettes and then coming back to sit chanting, coming back to chant. Right? Then this person, this devotee got very, very angry. He thought that he's actually spreading wrong message to the people outside. If somebody sees him that he is, participating in the entire morning program, in between he's smoking and then going back again and starting chanting, people will think wrong about ISKCON itself. Then he went and chastised this person. When he was chastising, actually, he realized that that person is in tears. And that person told this devotee, this brahmachari, that actually, please, you can do anything, but please don't take me away from the association of devotees, he said. Why? Because this smoking habit is something that I had since many, many years. And I'm not able to give up this habit immediately. But actually, I've reduced my count. If I used to smoke some 2 packs before, I'm only smoking 1 pack now. For many, many days, I've been constantly practicing it. And I tried many, many other paths before to give up this habit. None of the paths worked. But I am feeling that slowly, as I'm, practicing devotional service, this is going away very slowly. And therefore, please don't take me out of, you can do anything, you can give me any punishment, but please don't take me away from the association of devotees. And when he was saying this, that brahmachari was feeling that I don't have that much faith that he has in the path of bhakti, although I am living in the temple and everything, right? So it's again another classic example of how we misjudge people based on their external activities, right? So therefore Krishna says, even though my devotee is doing the worst of activities, most abominable of activities, you need to respect the faith that he has in me and not judge him based on his external activities, right? So we need to drive this home to people outside who don't understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. We need to make them, understand through these kinds of examples. Examples can be given to them to make them understand that this actually works. And then this brahmachari was saying that over a period of 1 year, that person who used to smoke so many packs every day, not just 1 or 2 cigarettes, used to smoke so many packs of cigarettes every day, he gave up that habit completely. Now he's an initiated devotee in the Chowpatty temple, and he's doing very well, right? So
Very
like
good.
this, we need to make. Yeah,
Thank you, Prabhu.
I think it's
Hare
time,
Krishna.
no?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu. Thank you very much for explaining how to live in value-based system of life than likes and dislikes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you,
shall we
devotees.
end?
Yes, Prabhuji, I think. Thank you very much, Prabhu, once again for the wonderful class, and it was amazing slogan, amazing explanation. Thank you, Prabhu. We'll end with Vaishnava Pranam. Vanchakalpatarubhyas
कृपासिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you.
भागवत की जय. जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. हितै गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. Hare Krishna devotees, we'll end the Zoom session. We will
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavata Pranam Prabhu.
Krishna
Thank you.
Prabhu Dandavat Pranam.